Popeye the Slayer Man isn't a bad movie. Yeah, I said what I said. When you're watching movies every other day like House Shark or Zombiesaurus or The Clown Chainsaw Massacre, you can sometimes wonder whether your perception of what makes a movie good becomes warped due to how much absolute shit you ingest every week. I know I've had this fear every now and then. So sometimes I'll force myself to watch something that is objectively, and by objectively I obviously mean in my opinion, God, amazing. And that's what I did this week. The other day, I sat and watched one of my comfort movies, Terrifier 3. I know, I need help. But one of the things that I love about the Terrifier movies, specifically 2 and 3, is that they're fun slasher movies. Regardless of what you think of the characters or the story, the kills are crazy, Art is a fun antagonist, and the effects are pretty damn great considering the initial budgetary restrictions that Damien Leone had when he was making the films. I like slasher movies and can handle gore in movies, so naturally, I like the Terrifier series. Much to my husband's dismay. Every time he walks into me watching them, he asks what's wrong with me, bless him. So, a couple of days later, when I sat down to watch Popeye the Slayer Man, a movie suggested by Twitter user DWrestleFan15 a while ago, I expected a bare-bones, stupid slasher movie with nothing entertaining about it other than the fact that Popeye was the one killing the characters. And somehow, I got a slasher movie that I genuinely really enjoyed. But before I get too deep into the review, let me get introductions out of the way. Hi there everybody, I'm Misa, and I love bad movies. And not only do I love watching bad movies, but I love talking about them and getting other people to watch them because I enjoy making people watch the stupid shit that I like. Hence why I'm making this video. And today, I'm going to be covering Popeye the Slayer Man. A movie that I actually think is a fun time and isn't anywhere near on the same level as a lot of the other movies that I've covered on this channel in terms of being bad. Now, I do need to make something very clear right off the bat before going into my reasons for liking the movie. I am 100% aware that horror isn't exactly a genre that people respect in the film scene, and up until the 2010s, most horror movies were considered trashy, violent, campy messes. And I can't say I necessarily disagree most of the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am horror's biggest defender when people write off the whole genre as if it's all just mindless schlock. I can never say that fucking word. Like, I'm a huge fan of horror, okay? I enjoy horror movies a lot. And there are some horror movies that I think are amazing pieces of cinema, up there with some of the highest rated movies ever made. Hereditary, Get Out, Weapons, Barbarian, Alien, 28 Days Later, Sinners, The Substance, I could go on. However, some of my favourite horror movies are... well, they're not amazing films, and I can acknowledge that. I mean, come on, I enjoy bad movies. If I can't admit that my movie tastes don't always correlate with what is considered genuinely good, then I'd be bad at my job. Like I said earlier, I love the Terrifier movies. I also adore Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is an amazing piece of cinema for a lot of reasons, but unfortunately it isn't seen that way by most people because they refuse to watch it. And of course, I absolutely love Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a 10 out of 10. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that when it comes to horror movies, especially slasher movies, I am aware that my opinion is a little skewed. I mean, it is my opinion after all. And me saying that Popeye the Slayer Man isn't a bad movie doesn't mean that there aren't issues with it, or even that it's that unique as a slasher film, other than who the antagonist is. It's me saying that I have sat through some of the bottom of the barrel when it comes to film, and this isn't anywhere near as bad as some of the absolute shite I have watched in my time. Plus, as a slasher movie, it's not actually that bad. I know that the premise of Popeye, yes, this Popeye, killing people is silly, but while actually watching the movie, I thought that, honestly, if Popeye wasn't already a world-renowned character that everyone and their grandmother knew about, the movie wouldn't actually be that silly. Popeye's makeup and massive arms are actually kinda creepy looking, especially when he stood in the shadows and you can only see his silhouette. He looks horrifying. I'd shit myself if I saw him in my house at night, dude. Look at him. I mean, I did laugh a little the first time his silhouette was shown, but that's mostly because his proportions are so fucked that despite knowing what he looks like, it took me off guard somehow. Plus, I have to rate the movie for everything being practical when it comes to his makeup. There is no CGI here, and I think that's pretty cool. Honestly, I've always kind of thought this, but the original design of Popeye, as in the cartoon character, is kind of freakish. I mean, the weird arm proportions and the massive chin, he looks like a freak, I'm sorry. I mean, considering that there's another 2 Popeye horror movies that came out this year, I can't be the only person who thinks that he looks horrifying. By the way, if you want me to review those movies too, then just let me know in the comments, because I'm kind of tempted. I know that these movies probably just exist because his character is in the public domain now, so people are just looking for an opportunity to make a quick buck off the character. But if you were gonna make a horror movie about a cartoon character, Popeye, in terms of his design, isn't really a bad place to start. But enough rambling from me. Let's get into what actually happens in the movie and why I personally think it's a fun time. As always, spoiler warning for the whole movie, so if you're interested in checking it out, which honestly I would recommend, then you can watch it on Prime. I know, shocker shocker, Prime hosting a low-budget movie with a ridiculous premise, who could have thunk it? But anyway, with all that being said, let's get into Popeye the Slayer Man. So I know I started this video off basically defending this movie from being lumped in with other bad movies, but one thing that unfortunately this film can't run from is the bad acting. Like, girl, if you're running for your life, I personally hope you get caught. Not all the actors are bad, and honestly most of the main characters are actually kind of decent at acting, but some of the actors in this movie are just awful. Okay, so this girl is running from some guys that she apparently stole coke from? Weird setup, but okay. Inevitably, they all end up being killed by Popeye. And this is the moment that I realized that this wasn't a regular low-budget horror movie using a popular IP to make a quick buck, because fuck me, the gore in this film is insane. Like, I can't show a lot of this on YouTube because it's that gory, and the practical effects are really good. Like I said earlier, I watched Terrifier 3 a few days before watching this, and the gore in this reminds me of the gore in Terrifier 3. Which is fucking crazy considering how violent that movie is. I mean, it's not as bad as the shower scene or anything. You guys know what I mean. But it's still crazy. The practical effects guy is legit talented, man. I hope he gets more work after this movie. And this is really something that I need to praise the movie for. All of the gore is practical, just like Popeye's makeup and arms. There is absolutely no CGI or anything like that. And I love that. I am a sucker for good practical effects, and it's so much more effort than CGI, so I always respect a movie more for choosing to do practical effects above CG. And I personally think it always looks better than CG gore, so props to the movie for that. But yeah, he kills them in very gruesome ways.
You're a monster!
Oh yeah. What? Oh yeah.
Yeah, one unfortunate thing about Popeye is you can't understand what he's saying half the time. I actually decided to watch this movie with subtitles on for this exact reason. But in this scene he says, "I am what I am." You know, that thing he says in the cartoon? Hey, at least they're being lore accurate. But yeah, so scream and then title card. And I promise you I am not going to spend the whole video glazing the movie, but one other thing I like about this film is that it gets right into it. That opening scene was a very good introduction to Popeye as a slayer. There's a shit ton of gore, and when we jump into introducing the main characters, it doesn't take them that long to end up at the dock where Popeye lives. The pacing is pretty good, and the director clearly knows what slasher movie fans are looking for in a movie. Good kills and characters that we don't hate. And speaking of the main characters, they're genuinely not bad either. I mean, they're nothing special. They're no Sydney from Scream or Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. But slasher movie protagonists have never usually been interesting in low-budget movies like this. And honestly, it's easy for characters in movies like this to be very, very unlikable. I'm looking at you, Joker Clown. But these guys are actually alright. The main dude is Dexter, and he wants to make a documentary about the doc because of the legend of the Slayer Man. And he gets his friends to help out. Honestly, this plan to go to the dock seems really stupid because Dexter doesn't have permission to use the dock for filming, and the group end up needing to sneak and break into the place. You know, something that is very, very illegal. And I don't know what kind of footage he thinks he's gonna get after one night of sneakily filming, or how he knew that he would be able to get inside of the main building of the dock, or even whether the company that owns it don't have people keeping watch of the place. Like, this doesn't seem very thought out, dude. But regardless, Dexter is just kind of a dude. Like, he's a bit of a nerd, but he doesn't have much in the way of personality. He's a bit of a jokester, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, let me guess. You asked for permission and the owner said no.
I don't like the tone of your voice when you're stating facts to me.
But I don't think that this is that big of a deal. As a main character in a slasher about Popeye, I'm not expecting amazing characterization, as long as they're not annoyingly unlikable. And I really don't mind the side characters. They all seem to be either a stereotype incarnated into a person, which can be a little bit annoying, but it's not that bad, or they're just pretty okay as characters. Except for Joey. But we will get to Joey. In all honesty, the only characters that we really need to pay attention to are Dexter and Olivia. Olivia, who has black hair and pale skin. Some might even say olive oil skin in a Popeye movie. Yeah, if you know anything about Popeye, we all know where this is going. Now, one criticism that I do need to give the movie, which isn't usually something that would annoy me so much, is that the color palette is very, very bland. I know that the movie is based around a sailor, so you would think that the blue would be a nice overlay color to the scenes, but in actuality, it just makes each scene look really boring. Like, the overlay shade does change to red sometimes in some scenes, which makes the environment look a little bit more alive, but it doesn't help how the rest of the movie looks. Like I said, I'm not expecting amazing movie-making skills from a film called Popeye the Slayer Man, but it was just so noticeable, I had to point it out. Alright, so we learn that the site is being bought and demolished to make room for some apartments or something, which Popeye, obviously, is not the biggest fan of. And he goes after this worker who's keeping an eye on the place. You know, with how strong Popeye has been shown to be in the previous kill scene, I'm kind of shocked that he didn't kill this guy just with his punches.
Permits are for sellouts. We're indie, stealing shots and creating a visceral, realistic viewing experience.
Dexter is totally the type of guy that you'd go on a date with, and he scolds you for liking The Shawshank Redemption and says, "I only watch French exploitation films. Did you want to come back to my place and watch Irreversible? I swear that the really violent, graphic, disturbing rape scene is 100% necessary for the meaning of the film to impact you in any way, and totally isn't just a shock tactic to keep you watching." What? Don't at me, you lot know I'm right. If I ever make disturbing movie reviews, trust me when I say I have a shit ton to say about movies like Irreversible. Oh, but the cinematography is amazing. Yeah, I agree. The cinematography is amazing in Irreversible. But why did they have to have a 10-minute long violent rape scene in it? Anyway, I'm not going to go on a tangent about Irreversible, but I'm right, you're wrong.
Please, don't make a scene at my job, okay?
I'm just looking out for what's mine.
Joey, you're hurting me.
You know, it's brave of a movie called Popeye the Slayer Man to include a subplot about domestic abuse. So yeah, this is Joey, and he sucks. Not just because he's an abusive, misogynistic, probably Andrew Tate-loving, controlling piece of shit who the audience is supposed to hate, but also because his actor is, let's just say, not really equipped with the acting skills to be playing such a morally atrocious character.
Would you shut up about some stupid ghost story?
Most of the actors in the movie aren't anything to write home about, but their acting is at least passable. But this dude and his little goons are awful. I don't think I've watched a movie where I was so irritated at a character for both being awful as a person and his actor being awful too. I know that this isn't a movie that you're supposed to take seriously, but making a character embody such a raw and real subject like domestic abuse and then having them be portrayed like a cartoon character is a choice. But anyway, we now have all of our characters together, ready to go. So our cast consists of Dexter, totally nothing to do with Olive Oil Girl, victim of abuse, whose abusive boyfriend totally won't come down to the docks and get killed later on, and this will they won't they couple, who, to be honest, I don't really care about that much. And no, I'm not learning all of their names, and you lot can't make me. I like this movie, but that doesn't mean I care about the characters' names.
This place is huge. How are we supposed to search it all?
We're gonna split up and explore different sections.
What is it with characters splitting up in movies, man? Oh, we can cover more ground. Yeah, with your fucking blood! I like that shot. I don't have anything more to say about that, I just really like this shot. What? Am I not allowed to just give a movie a simple compliment? Jesus! How did she not notice in her peripheral that someone was walking through the camera? So the agent from earlier, who's helping sell the building, comes back because she dropped a file earlier and she didn't pick it back up. And I do want to know why the hell she decided to go back to the dock that's rumored to be haunted in the middle of the night, as opposed to going back in the morning where she can actually see her file on the ground and, you know, not be in a dark environment at night. I mean, even if Popeye wasn't real, there could be like a homeless dude staying there, drug deals happening. Like, the place is supposed to be abandoned. Anything could happen in there. But whatever, horror movie character logic, I guess. But Popeye sees her and she understandably shits herself and runs. Bitch, turn your flash off! What are you doing? What the hell is up with this music? Did the editor get bored and decide to drop something from his SoundCloud in here? God damn! Do you guys see what I mean about the violence? He just scalped her by ripping her hair off of her head. What the fuck? This is what I meant when I said that the violence in the movie reminds me of Terrifier. The sound design and the effects put together just make you wince whenever anything violent happens. It's brutal. He ends up crushing her with this machine and it's just as painful as it looks. We discover that the reason why Popeye looks like this and is killing people is that the building itself is an old spinach factory that happened to be by the docks. And the spinach was contaminated with some kind of nuclear sludge, and Popeye keeps eating it, so it mutated him. Yeah. And honestly, if there was gonna be a Popeye horror movie, this is the kind of backstory I'd expect, and I'm happy with it. I don't know if there's any staunch Popeye fans out there that are gonna be like, actually, this isn't accurate to the lore of the show or something, but I think it's fine.
When you smell the smoke from his pipe, he is near.
He will kill you if you show fear.
Who would write that on the wall? Who would have the time to do that while being pursued by Popeye? This is something that I really never get with horror movies, and it is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. If you're running from something, how would you ever be calm enough or have enough time to put a warning on the wall for people that end up coming to the location you're at? It's always something that when I see in horror movies, I roll my eyes. I'm sorry, but if Jason Voorhees is chasing me, I don't give a fuck about the future people coming to Crystal Lake. I am not putting warnings up. I'm getting the fuck out. Call me a selfish bitch all you want, but that is how I would be in a life or death situation. I'm sorry. So Joey and his goons head to the factory because he's paranoid about his girlfriend cheating with Dexter for literally no reason other than that they're in the same proximity as each other and he is not there.
She's probably grinding with that Dexter guy right now. You think so?
Honestly, most accurate depiction of a narcissistic abuser that I've ever seen in a movie of this caliber. And after his girlfriend, who has a run-in with Popeye, runs off, he ends up finding her, spouts some abuser nonsense, and then him and his goons attempt to fight Popeye.
Guys?
I really don't know what this guy's plan was. Popeye is like 6'5" and massive. Stabbing him probably would affect him, yeah, but he's probably still gonna kick his ass with a stab wound while being a normal person with a build like that. Like, he's fucking huge. Now, this is a part of the movie that I really don't get, and I don't think the movie makers even attempted to make it consistent. But in the rhyme from earlier, it says that Popeye only kills people who show him fear?
He will kill you if you show fear.
And in this scene, Joey and the black dude leave the girlfriend there basically to die. And she is clearly terrified, understandably. But Popeye just walks right past her like he doesn't even see her there. Like, what? She's showing him fear. Why is he not killing her? I mean, Joey and the black dude also show fear, I guess, but surely he'd kill her first before going after them. Like, what? I don't understand what the hell the point of setting up the rhyme is if you're not gonna follow through with its rules. It was probably just something to make Popeye look creepier, but I just don't understand why you would implement it. But whatever, the black dude has the sense to just get in the car and leave. I mean, yeah, fair enough. But uh-oh, Popeye's holding the car and preventing him from leaving. And this dude, this poor dude, he was probably the nicest out of the goons. I mean, he was still a bit of a piece of shit, but he was the nicest piece of shit. He has the most unfortunate series of events happen to him during this scene. Not only does Popeye basically just fuck his hand up before he runs off, but he manages to step on a massive fuck off nail, which honestly, it's impressive that he managed to step on something that big without realizing he was about to first. And then this happens.
Acres away.
Absolute cinema. So Joey, being the absolute Prince Charming that he is, manages to find his girlfriend, fucking shoots her by accident, and then leaves her to fucking die. What a guy. Meanwhile, this couple decide to try and climb this pole on the roof to get across this ledge since Popeye spotted them, and the dude falls because, yeah, of course he does. This wasn't gonna work. The amount of upper body strength it would take to manage this is crazy, and I'm sorry, dude, but you don't look that strong. Luckily, he's alright, but because he's a fucking idiot, he has the most preventable death ever depicted on screen. Like, you could have just stopped wriggling your feet around.
Joey, what are you trying to do? Scare me to death? Say the man is real. He killed Seth.
No, he didn't. He wasn't even in the fucking room when he died. What are you talking about? This is such cope, man. He was just a fucking idiot that couldn't sit still. I refuse to accept this slander of my man Popeye. He did nothing wrong here. So she runs away and she attempts the same climbing jump as him. You know what? These two deserve each other. They're both fucking idiots. Okay, so this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. We find out that Popeye is staying at the factory because he wants to look for Olive Oil and their daughter, since it seems that Olive Oil may have died there. But he seems to almost not believe that she's dead, and he wants to stay there and find her. Tragic backstory, I know. And oh my god, Olive Oil looks exactly like Olivia. I wonder why. So Dexter gets his arm fucked up by Popeye, and Olivia manages to get him to chill the fuck out for a second before killing him. I think honestly if she wasn't there, Dexter probably would have died here. And shocker shocker, we find out that Olivia is Popeye's daughter. As if we didn't see this coming!
I know this sounds crazy, but I don't think he wants to hurt us.
Bro, I'd be looking at her like this too. Like, what do you mean? But Joey attacks Popeye and Olivia, so we finally get to see him get killed. This death is so fucking absurd. This is a fucking cartoon death. However, we find out that the girlfriend is alive. Yay! And Dexter and Olivia vow to go back for Popeye, because Olivia believes that he's just sick, and that if he had the choice, he wouldn't kill anybody, but the spinach is fucking up his mind. She thinks they can fix him. So expect a sequel, I guess. And Popeye comes out with one more kill, specifically of this dude trying to sell the building, before the credits roll. And this is where we hear the song for the movie, Sailor to Slayer by the man from Alphabet. And I actually really like it. I like rock and metal, so this was kind of my thing. I mean, it's not an amazing song or anything, but it's pretty good considering the type of movie that it's in, and the fact that it was made for the movie is pretty cool. I can't play it here because, you know, copyright and all that, but the song is on Spotify, so I'd recommend you guys go listen to it if you like rock. And that is Popeye the Slayer Man! This movie was fun and enjoyable. If you like slasher movies and understand that not all of them are gonna be a Scream, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or a Terrifier 3, then you're probably gonna have at least a decent time with this one. It's nothing amazing or anything. Like, if I had to choose between watching this again and watching the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the 100th time, I'd definitely be choosing the latter. I mean, you can't beat perfection, right? But I would actually watch this again if I felt like watching a silly slasher movie with decent kills and characters that I don't mind. Now, ranking this movie was definitely a task for me, because I don't feel like this movie is a bad movie in the same vein as the other films I've reviewed for this channel. There's a lot of good aspects of this movie in terms of filming. Like, I never felt like the audio was off. The cinematography, despite being a bit dull with the color palette, was at the very least competent. Like, they actually used a tripod. The filmmakers clearly understand lighting when it comes to creepy looking shots and the darker scenes. And it just doesn't look that bad. The acting wasn't awful, except for Joey and his friends and that girl at the beginning. Popeye's makeup isn't the worst, and like I said, I think it genuinely looks creepy. Like, how can I compare this to something like Clownado or House Shark? It doesn't seem fair. But in terms of being a bad movie, I can't say it's better than Skin Deep or The Snarling in terms of being a bad movie, because it's not a funny bad movie to me. So when I originally was trying to figure out where to put this on my tier list, I was having a really difficult time figuring out what to do. So I did something a little cheeky. I made another tier again. I'm sorry, but there was just no tier on this list that I felt the movie should be in. And I really just don't think the movie is that bad. So this tier is called This Isn't Even a Bad Movie. And this is going to be for movies like this that I don't think are bad in the same way as something like The Room or Birdemic, and is more like a low-budget movie that's just enjoyable. So that's where this is going. If you don't like horror or slasher movies, you're probably not going to like this. And hell, even if you do, you still might not like it. And hey, maybe my perception of what makes a movie good has been warped by all the bad media I watch, but I like this movie. It's not amazing, but it's enjoyable, and that's all I can really ask. This is just my opinion, so you're all good to disagree with me. I mean, from what I can gather, a lot of people don't really like this movie, but me personally, I had a fun time watching it. And if you do disagree with me on my opinion, then you can let me know in the comments. Or you can tweet at me as well. The links to my Twitter/X and Blue Sky accounts, as well as my Letterboxd, are in the description below. And for any generous people who would like to support me making these videos, my Ko-Fi and Patreon are also in the description. And speaking of my Patreon, thank you to my amazing patrons, Rob Slide and Fox. You're both amazing, thank you for your support, it honestly means so much. And for everybody else, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!